Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Crossing Borders. I hope you had a happy holidays. Alex and I are back giving you a tour across the border, showing you some of what Mexico has to offer as far as the MMA world goes. I'm Mike In. That's Extremo Alex Soto. Alex, how are you doing? And how was your holidays, buddy?
Doing good, Mike. Doing good, man. Happy New Year too. Holidays, everything. Uh,
You be,
but
you
uh,
behave yourself, or did you get all crazy for the holidays?
oh, get out of here, man. I'm a father now with two kids. I'm behaving myself these days.
Really? Like the way you did on Veterans Day?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, same way.
He's like, you weren't supposed to tell people that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, what the hell? No, I'm just kidding. All
Nah,
good, Mike.
it's all good. A couple things have happened since we last talked. Of course, we had our last show around Thanksgiving time. We took the month of December off for the holidays. Since then, you did Lux 19, which, of course, Bam Bam was successful in his fight against Centino. We'll talk about that real quick. We'll also take a moment because, we do have a few weeks before the next Lux event. So we're going to take a chance to kind of profile a few fighters that we think are going to kind of break out this year. Some names that you probably might not have heard of, or maybe you have, but a couple names that we think will be somebody you definitely will hear by the end of this year coming up in 2022. Before we get to that, let you know this is brought to you on the Fighters First Network, fightersfirst.shop. Make sure you shop the Extremo collection. Put some money in Alex's pocket, in my pocket as well. We appreciate you. We love the support. And then also make sure you hit like and subscribe. Check out all the great shows we have. We're all back in action. We did Art of MMA this week. We did Slamtown this week. So wrestling, MMA, combat sports, all that stuff is rolling again. It is January, and we are back to work. Alex, you ready to get started?
Let's get going.
All right, buddy. So we did miss Lux 19. On that card, of course, Bam Bam Valenzuela with the big knockout over Ricardo Centeno. Ricardo Centeno's super tough. We talked about how he's trained with TriStar a little bit. Coming in, he's now he's 9-7. He was 8-7 before that. Or I'm sorry, 9-6 before that. Valenzuela, he was 7-1 coming in. He's on his hot streak. We've talked about him a couple different events. Real quick for the fans at home, kind of give them a recap of what happened in that main event.
Well, it was Bam Bam Valenzuela just basically destroying the competition again. Really, it's like, man, we were thinking this is going to be his biggest test so far under the LUX ban, but man, he rolled right through him, and you saw him at the weigh-ins. We thought it was going to be very competitive and back and forth.
He looks like $1 million.
He does. He does.
He has the look. He has the skill. I mean, he's got to be on a major promotions radar as far as like UFC, Bellator, whatever in 2022. I know you guys don't want to lose him down in Lux, but I can't imagine he stays there much longer, especially being we've talked about this in the past, how many like Mexican fighters and Hispanic fighters are smaller fighters, and he's one of the bigger ones in middleweight. I can't imagine that they wouldn't want to steal him for that weight class in the UFC, Bellator, PFL, whatever the case may be. He's got to be on his way up.
Yeah, I think he's going to be he can be $1 million fighter pretty fast, especially in the middleweight division. He's really fun to watch. He's really exciting. He's explosive, and he finishes his fights, man. I think what I'd like to see from him is him to run that other fight back where he lost, get that win back, because he was tested in that fight. It was early in his career. I think it was his second fight, maybe his third, maybe, but he was taken down. He was really dominated on the ground. So there's some stuff I'd like to see him do before stepping up in the UFC and taking on massive fighters with excellent wrestling and great jiu-jitsu.
The only thing about that fight with Ferreira is that Ferreira's not even in Lux anymore. I mean, he's kind of bounced around. He's done some FFC, he's done some UWC, which we'll talk about a little bit later, Ultimate Warrior Challenge. And he's been 50-50. He's won some, lost some, whereas Valenzuela is just rolling through everybody. So I think it would be, even though he lost to the guy, I think it would be a step backwards to even give him the time of day at this point. It's kind of like Cyborg, like Chris Cyborg, right? One of the greatest women's fighters of all time. She lost her very first fight. You ain't running that one back. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just got to leave it in your past.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Honestly, I'm trying to find somebody that could really make him shine in all of his, all of the aspects of MMA. What he's been working on. I'm sure he's been working on his ground game. I'm sure he's been working on his wrestling. His sprawling and takedown avoidance. But I'd like to see more of that from him, just to really get that confidence going in him. He's still very young. I think hopping into the UFC right now would probably be. I mean, if we can't find anybody else, man, like this kid is really really talented. I mean, he's very strong, very powerful. But I think.
I mean, he's 29. He's 29 years old, so at this point, it's almost now or never.
Never say never.
I mean, I understand MMA fighters are fighting longer and longer, but it's his prime. He's got to go for it. I think. I mean, that's my opinion.
I agree.
As usual. In the co-main event, though, we had a little bit of a controversy, right? So Pato Martinez with a split decision over Jimenez. What happened in that fight?
It was Edgar Delgado, I think. So man, it was really interesting in that fight. First of all, I'd like to note that was my I was calling that fight with Jorge Masvidal, and that was so much fun, man.
How come Jorge isn't on the show today?
He was on the show. Jorge was on. He's on the show with me, and it was a blast, man.
I want him on this show.
Oh, on this one. He's your name in the call.
He's 4 hours away. That's like you going to San Francisco.
Yeah, well, San Francisco is 8 hours, so it's more like going to like
Big
Los
Bear
Santa
Mountain
Monica
or something like that. All right, there you go.
But regardless, he's badass, dude. Super cool vato. Like he's just a fun guy to call fights with. And both me and him were kind of agreeing on the fight. We watched the last fight or the last show that we did here. I was saying that if Alejandra Martinez fights with the the stand and brawl technique that he always does for entertainment, it could cost him fight. Now that's twice I've said this. With two different fights with him, and both times he's proven me wrong. And I love that guy. This fight he showed he to win and entertain both at the same time, man. And it was a really.
You think
really
it was a good
fun
decision?
I think it was a good decision. Jorge Masvidal and I both agreed that Alejandro Pato Martinez won it, but Jorge Masvidal said, you know what, it could go the other way, and it would be fine.
I don't care what you guys thought. I don't care what you guys. What did Francisco think? He's the expert on the show. What did he think?
Yeah, right. Francisco was he was saying it could go either way. So
okay.
Usually I didn't go too far off.
When Francisco X tells me it was going one way, I believe the man. He is a professional. when he shows up, when he doesn't get stuck with travel problems.
Right, exactly, man. No, but it was a close fight, man. It was a really close fight. I thought it was going to be a possible split with Alejandro winning. I think it went to the right there. I think the right fighter won that night. I think we had some good judging that time, and I'm proud of Alejandro Martinez, man. Proving me wrong twice. Also performing great, man. He's such fun to watch. A potential UFC contender there that could really give us some highlights in the UFC and really fun.
Yeah, fight. He was kind of like 500 for a while. He's going back and forth. He's on a winning streak now, so anything's possible. I mean, that fight was more of a catch weight. I think it was 150 or something like that, a catch weight fight. So be interesting to see where he kind of fits, whether it's like a lightweight or featherweight or even, I don't know, probably featherweight, I guess. He's fought most of his fights at featherweight, right?
Yeah, most of his fights are 145 pounds, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Any other fights kind of stand out to you on that card? I know there was a lot of finishes that night.
Yeah, dude, it was a wild night, one of my favorite fights, one of my favorite bantamweight fighters to watch there was the title challenger, which is David Mendoza, El León, as they call him. He performed really well. I think he had 2 consecutive losses to the current champ, and was able to really come back from that and, kind of really destroy this guy. I guess he would fight against Freddy Villegas and was able to really, finally get him out and get that rhythm. And, after fighters get, lose to a guy who you feel like he could have done well, David Mendoza got choked out and really, really quickly, I think in the opening round, in the first round, in the championship round. But then was able to recoup with this fight. So it was really good for me to watch him go out and get that big W for him that night. So that's one of my highlights with that fight.
And real quick, to be fair to the ladies, you did have one women's fight on the card. Nicole Geraldo, she goes to 3-0. I did miss that fight. Was she impressive in the unanimous decision, or was it kind of a close fight?
We talking about some girls or some fighters to watch, and for the future, girls keep or fighters keep their eyes on. And she's one of them that made my list for today. Nicole Geraldo is like super slick with her stand-up. I mean, she's very crisp with her combinations. She's got really good movement inside the cage. She's got I think she's got a Taekwondo background, and she's like a national champion in Taekwondo. Man, she was fantastic that night. Another performance for her that was really, shows that in that weight class, I think the straw weights, and our current champion, Tani Torres, is gonna have a handful with her. I can tell you this right now. She's really, really good. She's a real deal.
Awesome. Well, it sounded like a great night of fights. Can't wait. Obviously, LUX 20 coming up in February. We'll talk more about that when that gets closer. Have they announced the main event for that one yet?
I don't think so, and I don't want to give out too much.
I haven't seen a card yet.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of movements going around with that. With Diego Lopez moving away from 145 pounds. He's vacating the belt. He's trying to get into the UFC. I mean, the guy had a missed opportunity with the eye poke in his fight with the Contender Series.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get ready for that call for the UFC. He's really working hard to get there. And I think he fought for a different league not too long ago, right? I think he's got 2 fights with them.
He's going to be fighting for Fury FC in February against Kenneth Glenn. So unless something happens between now and then, he's scheduled for that fight. Fury FC, it's going to be a featherweight fight. So we'll see what happens with that one.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes with that.
Or actually,
that should open up.
I think Fury FC is the grappling promotion, right?
Oh yeah, it might be. Yeah, it might be.
So I think he's just got a grappling match, not an MMA match. So
that's kind of weird that Topology is doing that, right? I'm seeing that jiu-jitsu matches are coming on records now.
Grappling matches are huge. I mean, you saw what Fury did with the end of the year event with all the UFC guys coming in and girls fighting off against the more world-renowned grapplers and jiu-jitsu people. You saw Sean Brady, Cowboy Cerrone, Carla Esparza was in the main event. And unfortunately, that one ended because of a headbutt and a cut, and her and Danielle Kelly didn't get to finish that one. Grappling's getting huge, and it's, I kind of look at it as the alternative. People like boxing because it's just striking, or kickboxing because it's just striking. Well, there is a larger audience than I think people realized that like the technical aspect of it, of the grappling. You don't see it too much during a UFC event because if people start laying on the mat for 15, 20, 30 minutes, 25 minutes, people start booing. But if you go to a place where people are just looking for that, there is an audience. It's like, college with the wrestling tournaments and stuff like that are huge. People like Daniel Cormier and so many have come from that world. Well, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, all that stuff now fits under, grappling. So it's just a professional way for some of these to make money without, doing the whole UFC thing. So
not getting punched in the face. Yeah, no, I got you. But my question is, when did they start adding those to your professional record?
It's not. I don't think it adds to your professional record. I think it's just marked on your that you did it, like an exhibition.
Okay, all right. That's cool, man. Well, they.
I take it. Alex Soto isn't signing up for a grappling tournament anytime soon.
No, I'd love to. I'd love to do some grappling tournaments. I think those are so much fun. I do the combat jiu-jitsu though. We got to get a slap in there.
Well, I got my boy Anthony Burchak right down there at 10th Planet out in Phoenix or Tucson. I'm sure he does a bunch of those submission tournaments. I can sign you up.
Sign me up. Sign me up, man. I'm down.
All right. So that's Lux 19. Talk about Lux 20 coming up in February. Alex and I want to take some time, like I said, show you some fighters that you may have heard of, may have not, but definitely, look forward to 2022. We've obviously mentioned a lot of the same fighters over and over again with some of these main events in Lux. Alessandro, Casio, Draco, Bam Bam, El Pato. Like, we keep going over a lot of these same names who keep main eventing these cards because obviously they're the bigger names right now. But let's name a few names that people haven't heard. I'll let Alex go first. You just kind of talked about Nicole. Go ahead and finish talking about her, and then we'll go over and talk about a couple guys as well.
Well, okay. So first of all, we've already talked about a few in earlier programs. We talked about Danielle Serhuber, Princeton, who's since now gotten to the UFC and gotten some fat bonuses already from his highlight reel knockouts you've seen in the UFC. And
I'm excited to see him make his official debut.
He's like a Yair Reyes, so not Reyes, Yair Rodriguez, who's who's really gonna watch. So Selhuber brings that type.
By the way, I hate to interrupt you, but this will be the part of the show where I told you I was right about Max. Fantastic fight. But Max Holloway and Yara Rodriguez, you pick Yair. You're not wrong very often. Fantastic fight, but you were wrong on this occasion because Max looked phenomenal. I had to interrupt you because you threw the name out there. I wasn't going to put you on the spot, but you did it to yourself. Go ahead.
I'm glad you brought that up because one of the things that I always annotate when I'm doing this, when I say this is the fighter that I'm going for, I always put a special asterisk that states, hey, this is an emotionally based.
Emotional? You were trying to bet me.
That's how when I'm putting my heart into my bets and I get too emotionally involved in them, that's
one
way
to lose some money. You put emotions in your bets.
Yeah, well, that's why I don't bet on those. But I was willing to put some money on it. You're right. You probably made some money right there, Mike.
I didn't touch that one. I thought that fight was going to be so close. I just didn't touch it, but I probably should have. I think I did it on DraftKings. That was about it.
It just shows you how freaking good Max Holloway really is, man. And it always looks like you think that he's like, I mean, he's kind of have like that punch drunk kind of like vocab, like when he talks, it's kind of weird. If you look at it like his old interviews and then compared to now, there's like a muffled sound to it. It's just, his eyes.
People definitely have worried about the concussion syndrome with him. That's for sure.
Yeah,
because he doesn't duck out of punches. He just keeps coming forward. He's like a tank. Like you there's no wondering if you could hit Max. You can hit him, but he's going to hit you more, and he's going to keep coming forward. So I'm really interested to see. I think they just announced him and Volkanovski for the third fight coming up on the same card as Jan and Sterling. So that'll be interesting to talk about when it gets closer. Pay attention to Art of MMA. But let's get back to some Mexican fights. And if Alex wants, he can absolutely hop on that episode to preview that. But let's talk about some Mexican fighters you were talking about.
We always talk about bantamweights and flyweights and strawweights with Nicole Geraldo. But I got another one for you. How about a welterweight? We're going to hear a lot of welterweight fighters coming out of Mexico. But Anuar Aburto, who's 3-0 now, with Lux, I think he's 2-0, maybe 3. I'm not exactly sure. He's 6'6", 170 pounds. That he has a huge crowd that comes. That went and met us up in I think we're and it was so much fun, man. And the whole crowd was just cheering for this guy. The guy's got everything, man. He's got the talent, and he can fight, and he tears the competition. Now he's very young in terms of his career. He's 3-0. I don't like to tout too much, but this kid is somebody you want to keep an eye out for. He call him Tarzan because he looks just like the Tarzan character in the
Yeah, he's
movie.
tall, 6'6", 24 years old. So he had a ground and pound finish. Literally the fight, I believe, right before Nicole Geraldo on that same card, Lux 19. So definitely somebody to keep an eye on. Any other fighters you got to keep an eye on before I start taking over the show and make you like? No, I'm just kidding.
So sure, I got one more. I got Eric Silva, 145 pounds. He fought in Monterrey, I think Mexico City. I think he's gonna be the future 145-pound champion for LUX Fight League. His record currently is 7-1. I think that he is a powerhouse at 145 pounds, and he is going to make some waves in MMA. If he continues on what he's doing right now, keep working hard, and he's at the he's about weapon level, and I'm looking forward to. He's in the title contention to take over Diego Lopez's 145-pound championship belt. So I'm hoping I get to see him against Martinez or up against Edgar Ram Garcia at 145 pounds. Those are the guys that everybody's talking, El Caballero. We'll see. But in terms of Latin American mixed martial arts, I think Eric Silva at 145 pounds makes a very interesting prospect to keep an eye on.
Awesome, definitely. I'm high on Eric Silva too. I've seen him fight a couple of times. I think it was like Lux, not the last one, but maybe the one before that he was on, or was it the one before that? He was on 18, I think, right? Yeah. So I remember talking about him during 18. I just love the way he fights. He just, comes hard. He goes for the finish. That's an exciting fight. I got a couple names. Too. And they're more highly ranked. They're not really secrets as far as the world, but they are secrets to the American audience. We call this Crossing Borders. Showcase a few names that you might not have heard of. One of them, Andres Luna Martinetti, if you want his whole name. He goes by Andres Luna, 26 years old. He is a bantamweight that's most recently fought at the UWC, Ultimate Warrior Challenge, Mexico. He's a champion over in FFC. He's an Ecuador fighter, ranked right now number 2 in Mexico. His last fight was right in Alex's backyard in Tijuana for UWC. He's number 3 overall in Latin America. The guy is undefeated, 12-0 officially. I mean, as we all know, these records are subject to this and that. But 12-0 fighter out of Ecuador. He's fought all over Latin America. Like I said, he got the title at FFC. Fought his last couple fights against a little bit tougher opponents over in UWC. I think he's going to be one of those guys that might get that call up to Dana White's Contender Series to get a shot, especially at bantamweight. There's been a lot of scouts looking at him. Some people even consider him in the top 5. I think right now, officially, Tapology has him at number 9 in their overall Latin American pound for pound Mexico rankings. I'm sorry, not Latin America, Mexican rankings pound for pound. He's ranked number 9, which is pretty high considering you have names like Zellhuber, Diego Lopez, even the problem child we talked about before, Flores, a bunch of those guys above him. So most of those guys are already about to knock on the door or are in UFC. Johnny Parsons is another one. So this kid's right there in those rankings, right there behind him. And the other one on the ladies' side, Yazmin, another one that trains right in Alex's back door in Tijuana. Yazmin, howdy guy. I've been practicing how to say that, Alex. You should be proud of me because if you read it, it's like it's you'll see it in the show notes when I mention her. This is a girl who's on everybody's radar. Number 1 across the board, Mexico, the United States. She's a strawweight fighter, 5'3", 22 years old. She's just a baby. 22 years old. She's already 8-0. There's been a lot of talk. She's fighting in Combate Global right now. She's under contract there, I think, for 1 more fight, maybe 2. But when she's a free agent, I've heard PFL wants her because they want to do a lighter women's division for a tournament. I've heard Bellator wants her, and I've heard the UFC wants to bring her in for a Contender Series type fight. So a lot of people don't know about her. A lot of people haven't seen her. I can put some links to some highlight films and stuff. I don't want to get sued or the show taken down, but some highlight films from Combate Global on our show notes below. Check this girl out. How the guy has it all. She finishes a lot of opponents via knockout or ground and pound, but she also has a very slick jiu-jitsu game. She has a black belt jiu-jitsu coach. She sits there and uses the jiu-jitsu to kind of get in positions on the ground to ground and pound you. She's always looking for the finish. She's always exciting. She doesn't have too many subs because she doesn't really use the jiu-jitsu for that. She uses it more for position, but she's not afraid to be on her back. She's not afraid in any position. She's very, very aggressive, which, I mean, we all love like fighters that go for the finish and kind of come and go out for the kill. So Yazmin How the Guy is my female fighter to take a look at. Andres Luna, my male fighter to take a look at. Those are a couple fighters. I'll put links to those. I'll put links to the fighters that Alex mentioned as well in the show notes, so you guys can go home at home and check them out and keep an eye on them because 2022 is here. We're going to be obviously talking about more Lux events. We'll try to cover some more Combate Global and other Latin American events as the year goes on as well. Now it look like we're just favoring Alex and LUX Fight League. We do love them, but we want to kind of spread it out, do some bigger and better throughout the year. Alex, any final notes of things you're looking forward to going into 2022?
I'm looking forward to travel, man. So LUX Fight League will be taking me to Guadalajara, to Mexico City, some other awesome places around Latin America, which I'm not sure if I can talk about those yet, but those are a lot of
I think you just did, but okay.
I'll be traveling across the border several times throughout this year. Hopefully, if we can control this virus, and it doesn't really preclude.
Man, we almost got through a whole episode without somebody mentioning that word.
Yeah, yeah, almost.
There goes the advertising. Nobody's going to advertise now.
So I'm trying to figure out if, well, hopefully, I mean, if you go to Mexico, when you travel to Mexico right now, everybody's masked up. Even when they're walking on the streets, you can't enter a store without getting a mask on. They're still at really high alert. A lot different than it is here in the States. So it's just I'm reminded every time I go to Mexico, I'm like, oh right, the mask, everything. Everything's taken to another.
I mean, extreme. From what I hear, you're not far behind there in California. They're starting to go hardcore again.
Yeah, it's starting. There's rumblings here in San Diego and California.
They're talking about even moving the Super Bowl to Texas because of it.
Yeah, that
Super Bowl is supposed to be in LA this year. They're talking about moving it.
Oh, yeah, that would be a real possibility. Because things are starting to. They're talking about certain lockdowns, or not lockdowns like when it first started, but there's definitely rumblings of shifting the way we do business down here for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's spreading like wildfire. And if we're being 100% honest, I hope everybody at home is staying healthy, taking care of themselves, doing whatever they have to do precaution-wise to keep them and their family safe. One of our hosts on one of our other shows, Dan Bakley, him and his whole family just is currently going through it. Brandon Catino, another guy on our network, had it earlier this year. Knock on wood, I've avoided it so far. My family's been safe, but so many people, my extended family, my wife's family, they've passed away from COVID, especially down in Peru. We've lost some members of our family down there. A lot of people here in the States getting sick, so stay healthy. I don't get political with it. Just take care of yourself, take care of your family, stay healthy, because it is crazy and it is locking things down. You are seeing some events now that require vaccine cards, proof of vaccination or negative tests, traveling, like you said, proof of negative tests, masks everywhere. So everybody's trying to take this very seriously. So hopefully at some point we can go back to our normal lives. So I just say, if people ask you to put a mask on, just put it on. You can take it off later. Just put it on. Just do it. It takes 10 seconds out of your time. I see people causing fights in grocery stores over it. And I'm like, really? You're going to be in that grocery store 15 minutes. Just put it on and walk back out and take it off. Whatever. I don't see the point of people going completely berserk over it. Is what it is, I guess. But
fighting guys that are working there. Like, come on, they got the job.
Oh yeah, there's so many Karen videos and different like videos, people going nuts. I'm waiting to see Alex in one of those videos, but
yeah, right.
So obviously Lux gonna be traveling around. Hopefully you have a good time doing all that. We're looking forward to your adventures. I hope everybody had a happy new year. We're looking forward to bringing you lots of episodes of Crossing Borders. Now that we're back in action for the new year, we'll be back here every Thursday. So pay attention to Fighters First Network. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment. Let us know some fighters you're looking forward to. If you're familiar with the Mexican MMA scene, drop a comment. Alex and I check the comments. We read them. So whether it's here, Instagram, Twitter, wherever the case is, leave a comment, get in the conversation. Head over to FightersFirst.shop. Cop a Extremo hoodie. It's a little cold over in San Diego right now. Get a hoodie. Support your boy. Or get a T-shirt for the summertime coming back up soon. So that's that. Alex Soto, thank you once again, buddy. I will be talking to you next week. I'm Mike Ginn. This is Crossing Borders, and we're out.